go ahead, take a deep breath, pull it in, hold, and let it out. You're here today to develop and strengthen your mindset because you know that weekly training sessions in mindfulness is the missing link the world is searching for when it comes to business success. So set aside the external logistical side of business growth and come with me now to a world of focus, purpose, calm, confidence, and personal power using NLP and CBT tools and techniques. I am your host, Leah Marie, and you're listening to Flip the Switch. Okay, you guys, I am so excited to bring this episode to you today. This episode is so needed in our world today. So I am so excited to introduce to you Jason Norton, the CEO of a company called Thrive Life. Now, you guys are absolutely going to love the stories that come out of this episode. One of them being on how traveling to and helping in third world countries ignited new ideas that later led to explosive growth inside of this company. Also, we are going to check in and watch the laws of growth unfold in the stories of their brand new product launch and how the response ended up being so crazy that it left them shocked, and I wonder what we will learn from this. Now, of course, you're going to want to stay to the end. We're going to touch on and talk about how having support and building support as an entrepreneur will set you up so you never feel like a solopreneur again. Let's get started. Okay, yes, we're recording. All right. I'm so excited to have our special guest on the show today. Jason Norton. He is the CEO at Thrive Life. And I thought, what better way to be able to talk about health inside of an entrepreneurial podcast than to talk to a company that not only was built with entrepreneurs, but it's full of entrepreneurs. So I just thought that would be really great to be able to start out that way. And those of you that are watching this on the video can see Jason's already on the call with me. And those that are getting the podcast version, we're going to hear from him in a second. So before we jump in and I asked Jason a bunch of questions, I wanted to highlight the fact that with the flip the switch, one of the mindset things that we're constantly talking about is the who. So that's all, not necessarily, like you guys know, not our avatar, but it's who we are as a person, who we are bringing out into the world of ourselves. And so I thought I would start with kind of like who Thrive Life is. And the best way to do that was to talk about their mission. And so, Jason, why don't you, actually, this might be more fun. Jason, why don't you tell me, you guys have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different aspects. Why don't you tell me what's the Thrive way?
All right. Hey, thanks for having me on, first off. Really excited to be here. And yeah, our company, we spent a lot of time on this actually, as an executive team saying, who are we? And really having that principle-based business. And we all came together, honestly, as friends. A lot of us were friends in college and others. And we, the main part that got us excited is the fact that we just love people. And it's all about people. What can our business do to help the lives of people? Second thing is we're better as a team. It's never individualistic. It's always trying to focus on what we can do together is what will make, what will bring better results. We do what we say. If it's not impactful, why do it? We're part of something bigger. Mm-hmm. Excellent today, better tomorrow, constant improvement. So for us, that's what the Thrive Way is.
Yeah, I love those. And one of the ones that I love that that you really mentioned is the fact that we do what we say. And I love that one particularly because I think that really shines out in the integrity that your guys' company has. And
thanks.
So I love that. And I feel like it's a really important aspect of being a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Building that trust.
That it is trust. You lose trust, you lose everything. Trust is the most important thing you can have within an organization, and we deem it extremely important.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Okay, so now a little bit of background on Jason, and you guys have to know, as he said, that they built this company as friends, and so I actually went to one of the founders and got him to send me some notes about how to introduce Jason. So these are Jason Budge's notes on Jason Norton. He says he was student body president at Orem High. He graduated from Utah State University and then received an MBA from BYU. Ran an international sales operations for several years for the company was called For Life. And I mean, come on, guys. As entrepreneurs inside of this podcast, don't we want to be able to hear from a guy that has run international sales operations? That's pretty exciting. So this guy knows how to sell. But he's also worked at Thrive Life for the past 10 years as CEO. Now, Jason, you're married with 3 kids. He's doing pretty good so far. Baseball fanatic, loves sports and outdoors. And my last but favorite one is that your hero is Jason Budge, one of the founders.
You got all this from Jason Budge. Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
That makes more sense. All right. Yeah, he actually is. I have to say, he's one of my best friends, and it's really great to have a best friend and a business partner that is also one of your heroes. That's probably true, even though he was saying a joke. There's some truth to that.
Awesome. Now, I got to tell you guys a quick story, actually, just about Jason Norton. So I actually went on a humanitarian project with Jason Norton to Africa. And this was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life, just talking about integrity and kind of who you are as a person. But we were standing in line and we were trying to get through customs in Africa. And the line was very, very long, and there was a lot of people in front of us, and our group kind of got separated a little bit. And so a few people got ahead, some people were behind, and Jason and his son were standing in front of me. And his son thought, well, part of our group's up there, I'm gonna go join them. And so he went to join them, and as Parker walked away, Jason turns to him and grabs him kind of by the sleeve and says, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I'm just gonna jump up and join the group in the front." And Jason didn't know that I was listening. I was standing back. But he turned to his son and he said, "What makes you think that you're any better than all of these other people between us and them?" And I don't know if you remember that, Jason, but that was such a cool thing for me to witness. But I love that because I've seen many times, I've known Jason Norton for many years. And so I've just seen many times the example of who you are as a person, the integrity you carry and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons I just loved and really wanted to have you on the show today.
Oh, thank you. That was very nice.
So just so y'all know, Parker did stay with his dad in line.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on. So for our listeners, can you give our listeners a quick explanation of kind of what Thrive Life sells, who they are, how the company is kind of structured, just to give a little bit of background, because I did mention that the company was built by entrepreneurs, 2 guys, and then 2 friends, Steve and Jason, and then they brought you in as well, and just kind of give us a little bit of a background on the structure of the company so that moving forward they can say, okay, how does this apply to me as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so the product we sell is, our focus is healthy and convenient food. And so the technology that we have, we're a manufacturing company that manufactures freeze-dried food. And so that process is extremely gentle, doesn't use hardly any heat. It keeps about 99.9% of the nutrition in the product compared to air drying or dehydrating, which uses a lot of heat. And so it's a really, really just an incredible process to just be able to eat fruits and vegetables, especially without any additives or preservatives. And so with this, we've chosen the model of direct sales, and it's more of a referral-based business where we basically say, hey, we want our customers to be benefited for sharing it with others. So over the years, we've tried, different types of marketing, different types of distribution channels, and we found the most success with this channel. And it's been incredibly successful. So for the last 10 years, we've been able to be recognized on Inc. 500, been able to see a lot of, employ a lot of people, and the opportunity to help a lot of people's, health and lifestyle. So that's the basis behind who we are.
Awesome. I love it. Now, as you guys know, we're talking a little bit about health today. And so I wanted to highlight one of Thrive Life's brand new products that you guys are absolutely going to love, because it combines nutrition and convenience in the perfect way. But before we do that, as Jason and I discuss kind of the process of how that product came about and what it means for entrepreneurs in general, and families around the world, or especially in the United States and Canada, so that's where they're shipping at this time. But I just want you guys to recognize that there is the phases of growth that you're going to see through this, because we recognize that anytime there's success, there has been follow through on the phases of growth. And so I love that we'll be able to witness little pieces of that as we go through this. So just as a reminder, the phases of growth, the first one is education or learning. So starting with educating or learning about something, then you go into a testing phase, implementation, and prospering. Now, of course, every time that there's any sort of new phase or growth or thing that I introduce, there's always a law that I introduce with it. So the law that I'm introducing to go with the phase of growth as well is opposition creates growth as well. And so that's kind of the law that fits with that. And so as we go through this, I'm going to ask Jason a little bit about how each of the growth phases worked out for him as the company moved forward with their entrepreneurs, as well as how the laws of growth were in effect and what kind of the opposition they kind of came against as well inside of that. So Jason, Thrive Life's line, the Thrive Food line, was totally in the prospering mode. It had already gone through the educating, the testing, the implementing. It was prospering, it was doing fantastic. And then what happened was, you guys started having a bit of buzz. Something happened that took you guys back into the educating, like learning mode, saying something new is happening.
Yeah, frankly, it really was with that trip in Africa, actually, Leanne, and some of our trips to Africa before that, and also Ecuador. When we were out there, we went out we take 5% of our profits and put it towards our charity, Thriving Nations. And what we did is we went out there to try and create opportunities for people to be healthier. And we started by doing farms. We helped them learn how to do more fruits and vegetables and crops, because most of them were just raising corn only, and then selling that, and then eating primarily corn, maize in their diet. And so through this process, we saw that the communities we helped, when especially the schools. So we did some farms and orchards at schools, and seeing their nutrition increase, naturally to follow that was their education improved and their scores jumped through the roof, as you know, Leah. And in addition to that, just their athletic team started doing very well, their soccer team and their volleyball team. And so with that, we did other projects to educate. We built a school, which you helped us with, and we in some cases where they couldn't couldn't really farm well, we created water sources to get water there before we could do these farms. But it really got us our minds stimulated, thinking, okay, we're out here in these third world countries helping people get better nutrition, but in the United States and Canada, maybe there's enough food to share and enough for most people, but that isn't the issue. It's really nutrition and the food choices people are making. So if we can get fruits and vegetables in the diets of these first world countries, easier and more conveniently, we can help a lot more too in our own country. So it really was stimulated through that idea. We have technology that's very unique, and it took us about 1.5 years, and we figured out a way to take our freeze-dried technology and turn that into a powdered drink that you could just add to water, shake, and go. So it's extremely convenient, and it's the healthiest drink out there that we know of. There's nothing like it that keeps all the fiber in it with no additives or preservatives. It's 100% pure. And that's how we got here. And it's so when you ask that question, yeah, we were very much thriving as a business, doing very well with our main product line, but that's how it got here, was this need and this realization. We had something that was unique, that we could work together with that need and create something that people could use and could help their life.
Right. Awesome. And for those of you that are on the video here, I actually have one to show you guys. This is, so you guys actually ended up with 4 different drinks. Is that right? And each one is a different color, and each one does something different for the body. So you've combined, okay, right. So you've got an orange one, a purple one. I've got a red one in my hand, and then there's a green one as well, right? So we've got Focus, Heart, Boost, and Clean, right? And so between all 4 of these, that is 26 different fruits and vegetables, and each packet has 4 servings of fruits and vegetables in it.
Correct.
So basically, you can just rip and tear and shake, and you've got your 4 servings for the day. So I love this, you guys. This is so awesome. I have tried all of them. I have been drinking them. I love, love, love them. So here's my question then. So you guys recognized that there was a need out there, and then when you're running a business now on a corporate side. Now, I think this also applies to any entrepreneur when they're working with their customer base as well, is keeping their finger to the pulse of knowing what the needs are of the people and what the people are asking for. So did you find that you had either customers or consultants that were kind of already on that same thread, where they were like looking for something like, we love this, but how can we make it even easier? Did you guys have anything like that? What did that look like? Yeah,
absolutely. So we send surveys out to a lot of, we have a big product or a big customer base, but we send those out and we get a lot of people responding, and we keep adjusting that to try and find the answer, ask the right questions to get the right answers. And so that's one way. And that really helped us realize that people were loving our product, loving the health benefits, but it could be even a little bit more convenient, which is what people kept saying to us. It's not quite convenient enough yet. So that drove a lot of it. Another thing we do is we take some of our very top performing, our top performing customers or consultants, we call them, that sell the product. And we, put a board together and we talk with them regularly, saying, what are your customers saying? Because they're a little bit more in touch even than we are, because they're talking to them all the time. And sometimes it's friends, family. And so through that, we also got a lot of feedback. And then, of course, just watching the market. We have a really good marketing team here that understands what trends are, understands things that are hot, and kind of finding the mix of opportunity, need, and our capabilities, bringing that together is kind of how it all comes together.
Awesome. So if there was one thing that maybe a new entrepreneur could do to kind of keep their finger on the pulse as they're growing, what would be one piece of advice that you would give? Because it sounds like you have a few different areas that you gather that information from. What would be the one that you would kind of start with? Would it be like listen to the customers, or would it be gathering the people who are already using it? Like where would you start?
With your own home. If you're using the product regularly and like, for example, my wife liked some products and didn't. And so I would watch that or see my kids and then really myself. And as I started using it, for sure, that's first and foremost, is your own experiences and seeing what it is for you, and family who will be straight up blunt with you. A little bit of my extended family and things like that. Then kind of reached out to friends. So I would start there for sure before you get into people that you don't have that connection. Being able to create a safe environment where they really are not worried about hurting your feelings. There's a lot of ways to do that, and just letting people know, hey, I really want your feedback. Be brutally honest. and not just the good. I need to hear the bad because I'm trying to create a product and a business. And so if you aren't brutally honest with me, then you're not helping me. And that kind of opens it so where people will be, brutally honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I think that's a great piece of advice. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, so you guys went into the educating mode. You went and figured out all of the things you needed. You got extra equipment that you needed to blending the powders, all of that stuff. You put together a team of consultants to test it. Then you guys also took it out into the market and did testing in the market as well. And then I understand you also went and did testing and had actual like physicians and people inside of the health industry testing it and taking it to their clients as well. And so there was a lot of different testing going on in different areas. And so what did you, number one, find through some of that testing? And number two, what opposition did you run into? And when you ran into it, what was the mindset that helped you get through that?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, we first wanted to have people that had no bias with our products. So we went and found customers or people either through our sales reps or through our customers that said, hey, if you know of people that would try this, that have never tried our Thrive products before, we want to send samples to them and get their feedback. So they had no bias at all. And through that, we learned pretty quickly. Taste, was an issue. The palate of the American and the Canadian tends to be a little sweeter, and so getting a lot of feedback there was really helpful. As we kind of honed in on taste and kind of texture, how fine did we need to make that powder? Then we started taking it to more health professionals, nutritionists, dietitians, people that really are experts in this area, and tried to get their feedback. And so then they said, well, these are certain products that will really help the heart, or this or that. Of course, that was in product development as well, but we did tweaking to make them stronger in the different areas we were trying to solve, problems we were trying to solve. And so, yeah, with that, we came to realize that we considered lots of different things, like adding protein into this, and we, lots of different feedback. Some people said you should make it a meal replacement. And so we took all of that background from customers and kind of came together to say, what is the most unique thing? Even though there's lots of things we could do and we may do in the future, we decided to keep it completely pure and nothing else added, no protein, nothing else. So it's just fruits and veggies. And a lot of that came from the studies and the feedback we heard that only 10% of the population's getting enough fruits and vegetables, which is the most well-known way to get the nutrition you need. And so it all kind of came together, and that's how it really helped us. Yeah,
I love that. Okay, great. So then after you guys got all of this feedback, it was time to launch, right? So exciting. And I have to tell you guys, the thing as an entrepreneur myself, and I have kids in school, and so my entrepreneur day is from like 9 to 2:30 type thing. And so I have to pack as much content and material and studying and everything that I need to do as an entrepreneur into that time frame. And so I often will miss lunch. And then I hit a wall once the kids get home because of it. And so Ruby is such a good solution because I can literally grab it, just add the packet, shake it, drink, and I've got the fruits and vegetables that I need to keep my brain functioning and be able to just keep going. And I love that. And it's just made a huge difference. So quickly, Jason, when you guys did the launch, something really amazing happened, right? You guys ended up going through you had a surprise is what happened, right? You guys had a huge surprise. And I actually love the story of this surprise because there was two different mindsets that could have been taken on this surprise. And I love the mindset that corporate took on it. And so I think that is something that our listeners really can gather some insight on, is how to take the right mindset of a winner. And so can you tell us a little bit about the launch that you guys had, the surprise that happened with the launch, and then the mindset you guys took when the opposition came in for that.
Yeah. So we thought that we had produced enough for 3 months supply. We knew that this would be the biggest product launch we'd had. And so we already projected much higher volumes than anything we'd done in 10 years. And so we felt very safe, as far as, excuse me, as far as the amount of inventory that we had. So we launched, and within a week we sold out of what we thought would be at least 3 months supply.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so at that point, then we, went back, tried to expedite all production, and we were out for about a month again. Thought we had enough again to last us several months based on the first go, and sold out again within a couple of weeks.
So you had 3 months worth of inventory. You sold out in like 7 days of 3 months worth of inventory. And then you kind of put a brakes on, created a whole nother inventory on the projections that you had just launched. And it's still sold out again.
Sold out after a couple weeks the next time. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So it was very painful for our customers and our sales reps that, they're just going, hey, there's this great product, but we can't even get it out to people, a lot of frustration, of course,
Right. But that's part of running a business. Right. And so I think that that's the real side of this. That's the raw side of this that our listeners need to hear is like, sometimes something amazing can also have like a pain point to it. So what do we do?
Yeah. So at that point, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. And we tried to validate it and say, we get it. We're sorry. We thought we planned right. We kind of explained how we got to where we were to our sales reps and customers. And after explaining and apologizing, of course we came up with solutions. We had to really upgrade and expand the way we produce to be able to produce a lot more. So we put a pause on things for about another month and just produced, in crazy amounts of product. Our CFO wasn't excited because of all the money we put into buying, raw materials and product to last us for a very long time on these new projections, of course, but it needed to happen. And to your point, I think our approach, at that point we said, you know what, this is actually a positive thing. Let's not forget that. Mm-hmm. And kind of gathered the troops around and our key sales reps, we call them our advisory board, and said, hey, look, it is what it is. We did our best. We don't have enough, but let's take this to our advantage and let's capitalize on the fact that this has so much demand that it ran out, and let's use that to build the business and as a positive. And started kind of helping hone in the message and helping them understand how to talk about it and say, guys, this is so popular. This is doing so well that you got to be a part of this. As soon as it's back in, you're going to want to buy. And so kind of taking that approach of saying, yes, this is actually a good thing. You want to be in on this because you can see the demand changed everything. Mm-hmm. And once we got product in, now we've been going for a little bit less than 2 months with everything in, and it's pumping, it's hopping, and it's going great. And we have a lot of really happy people right now where 2-3 months ago they weren't so happy.
Awesome. So I love how it transitioned from like the launch was kind of the implementation to all of a sudden it was like prospering, and then it was like, wait, we need to learn again, and then prospering, right? So it, like you jumped back and forth in the phases so quickly because of all of the information you brought in the very first stages, because you had a superior product to everybody else. The fact that it's clean, like no additives, no preservatives, non-GMO, no artificial flavors, colors, no sugar, like nothing, like only fruits and vegetables. And I love the fact too that you mentioned that it had the fiber in it. So it's not like a juice, right? It's the only type of thing like it on the market. And I can taste the difference, and you can see the difference in the color. You can taste it in the flavors. And I think that it's really interesting to follow the story of how Ruvi has come about and the impact that it's had. And I think that for our listeners, what they can gather from your story and from the story with Ruby and with Thrive Life is that for starters, it's the entrepreneurial journey in having a product that's amazing, in wanting the best, right? To be able to provide the very best for your customers, and doing all of the research necessary to do that, and then keeping your finger on the pulse to know when the right time is to start learning and add something new and give something more, or to introduce something better. And then I love too how you talked about being able to then really move into the next phases, right? And being able to build that trust with people. And then the mindset shift that came, where it was, you know what, we can look at the negative and we can take accountability for like the hard part of this and have integrity in that. And then we're gonna go to work and we're gonna turn this into something amazing. And because of that, your company is once again prospering with this new product line as well as the old product line.
Yeah. It is an interesting process, and the entrepreneurial process is, you kind of have to, as an entrepreneur, as you all know, it's constant change and it's constant growth, constant improvement. You just, nowadays, especially if you just kind of keep just trying to just ride what you're riding, there will be an end to that. You have to constantly be innovating, constantly be improving and getting better, or you'll get passed and you'll get forgotten and you'll get ignored.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons I love being an entrepreneur is I just always have got to be doing something. I never satisfied. And I think that's one key attribute is just, being able to appreciate what's happened, but maybe not satisfied. And that's probably one of the biggest weaknesses we have here is we got to always show and celebrate the wins instead of just always pushing for improvements and pushing to the next phase, and celebrating as much as you can with your team and helping everybody feel like they're a part of this.
Well, and I love that you mentioned that too, is about with the team, because I think that, a lot of times entrepreneurs feel like they're all alone, right? And whether, like, even if they are inside of a direct sales company, sometimes they can feel like they're a little bit alone, like they don't have connections with their upline or sideline or whatever it may be. Or maybe they're inside of a company where they're a solopreneur and they're starting their own thing. But either way, there can be senses of, hey, there's a little bit of loneliness. But when you look around and you reach out, there's always support, right? You just have to open your eyes to it. And sometimes you have to go and find the right people that you connect with, and then create that environment. Just like you guys did with your top consultants, is you said, okay, who really gets it? Who really understands this business and this product and everything? And let's bring them together as a team, and let's have them really be our advisors, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that I love that it recognizing that no entrepreneur ever needs to feel like a solopreneur. Right?
That's a great point.
Groups inside of that. So I love that.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up, I will provide a link for you guys in the show notes so that you guys can try out the Thrive Life's new Ruby product. And I will add that into the show notes. So just to end up here, if someone is a brand new, or maybe they're a seasoned entrepreneur and they're finding that their health is kind of on the rocks with how busy they are, and that they just don't have the time to eat healthy, and they think, Ruby is a good option to be able to start out. I love it because it's something that if you're brand new into trying a health journey, it's the best first step because it's so simple. If you're a seasoned person on your journey of health, again, it's like such an easy step to take to just double your intake of fruits and vegetables for the day. And you guys have had tons of results pouring in and testimonials coming in for people with better sleep and all of these other things. And I'm sure they can go to the website and they can see all of those and read those testimonials. In the link that I provide for you guys, it'll be crave.thrivelife.com/Ruby. But I will put that in the notes. You guys will be able to go there and also be able to find it there as well. So just in closing, Jason, what is it that you would say is the best thing about Ruby for the busy entrepreneur to be able to take advantage of?
As a consumer, yeah, I would say really just echoing what you said. I mean, if most of us are just really busy people and forget to eat, and when we do, we're trying to get something quick, and it's usually not healthy. And so, yeah, give our product a try. I mean, we think it's great. I mean, Ruby's the answer in our mind, it's a perfect target market is the busy entrepreneur that's always on the go and not getting the nutrients you need. And if you're not getting the nutrients you need, you have less energy, you don't sleep as well, and it affects your work, affects your business. And
Absolutely.
so really, this could be a way for many people to be able to be in a better health situation.
Yeah, and to really be able to perform at a level so that they can reach the goals and dreams that they have as an entrepreneur, as well as being able to have their health to be able to enjoy the results of their business. I think that's
true. That's a great point.
A lot of entrepreneurs, I find there's this kind of, I'm going to end with this, you guys, but I always picture this person who's this entrepreneur, and they're kind of like, they're just going after the dream, but they're living the nightmare doing it.
That's a good point. Yeah,
right?
That's a very important point.
And we don't want to live the nightmare chasing the dream. We want to be able to be healthy so that when we get there and we enjoy the journey along the way, we have the health to be able to enjoy the fruits of our labors. And so I think that Ruby is one of the most fantastic ways to do that. That's what I do, you guys. I have a Ruby every day because I just think it's fantastic. I've noticed the benefits myself. And so I wanted to be able to really highlight this company, everything they've done, and to be able to say, you know what, I'm not going to ask you guys to do anything that I'm not doing. This is something that I do for me as an entrepreneur, and I think it'll help you guys too. So thank you so much for being on the show with me today, Jason. And
thanks for having me. That was really fun. Yeah, appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks.
I want to sincerely thank you and appreciate you today for showing up here on Flip the Switch. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a training session in your mindset mastery, leveling up your business success. And be a good friend. Share this episode with a fellow business builder. I'll see you next week, same time, same place.